Hello, welcome to Saturday night edition of the Horror Syndicate Up All Night. And we are going to do a spoiler free, as best we can, spoiler free review. Spoilers? No, no spoilers. Spoiler free review of Scream 6. So we saw it on Thursday, Seth and I, and let's just fucking get into it. Hi, Seth.
Hey, what's up?
So we're gonna do our this video. This episode won't be very long. We're gonna come back at an hour from now and do our rankings of the entire Scream franchise. And I just wanted to give you a quick. Oh, there it was. There it was. Real fast. All right. Anyway, so we saw. Oh, okay. Turn my volume down. So we saw Scream 6. You saw it about a half an hour before me. Let's talk about. We're gonna break it down as best we can without spoiling it. Well, let's talk about the opening first. What did you think of the opening?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Of course, I can't really dive into what I
We
enjoyed
will on
about it.
Wednesday. We're doing that on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Down and dirty.
yeah. But I thought it was a fresh way to start a Scream movie, and I really liked the direction they chose with it. So
Yeah, it was cool. I was disappointed at first, but not because of I was disappointed with who it was, more so than what it was. And then we get something that happens with at the beginning of a movie that never happens, which is really cool. You're like, oh, what? And then it's actually really a really good opening to the movie. It's one of the best, in my opinion, which was kind of some of the things we heard early on that this was going to be one of the best opening kills. And I really liked Scream Fives quite a bit because they didn't actually even kill her. But this one tops that, and it's close to number one for me on all the opening kills. This is really damn good.
yeah, are we ranking the openings when we do our
I
review?
we can, but like I we'll just talk about it whenever we do it. Because I'm still kind of torn because I really like one's is so iconic,
Yeah,
and then Scream Six it just subverted all expectations of the opening kill,
yeah,
and in a good way, and I really enjoyed that. I think the opening kills are generally one of the best parts of the movie. But yeah, we're gonna make this short and fast. So I do have slash scores for me and Seth, and the overall slash score and the audience score, which I'll just go ahead and say that because I didn't make an image for it yet. The audience score is 83.6%, or I like to round up, so it's 84%, which is pretty good. And that's actually we've had about 80 more people rate it since I did that, so it might be different at this point. Maybe I'll redo it before the next show. Anyway, let's get into the characters a little bit. I know we can't dive too much. I want to talk about how you felt and how I felt about the returning characters: Sam, Tara, Mindy, her brother, which his name just lost my. What's his name?
Chad.
Chad. Chad, the worst name ever. Chad, and then there's one more, Gail. So I enjoyed them more than I did in Scream Five. And that should be the way to go in the sequel. My kids actually love both Chad and Mindy. They're their favorite characters in these two movies. Um, I just don't like the way they were handled. What do you think?
I actually liked the way that the core four were written
Hashtag
with,
core form.
yeah, with their dynamic together.
That was fine.
Yeah, they had it was they had a good like family type relationship
Hmm.
with each
Well,
other,
they kind
and
of mentioned that in the movie there that you find your own family. I think Gail said that.
yeah, yeah, and but they did it really well because I mean I enjoyed the characters enough in part five, but I didn't overly love them.
Yeah,
But I
same here.
do like their dynamic together here,
Yeah,
and I feel like they're coming together as a group. There's I don't know, naturally with this series, I think they played a little too safe with the characters, but I enjoyed their dynamic here.
yeah. It's like I think people. This is going to be strange, but I think people, filmmakers and writers, are learning from the mistakes the Star Wars sequel trilogy made. And what I mean by that is the way they're treating characters, yeah, especially legacy characters. Sure, in Scream 5 they kill off Dewey, but that's I think there was time for some one of them to go, and Sydney wasn't in this, but we did we I think they've been handled pretty well, whereas Star Wars they did not. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I didn't like the way Gale was written in this one. That's one of my cons is the treatment of Gale.
We'll talk about that off this because I got to know what you mean because I like there's a couple things and a couple moments that I like with her, especially, and it's a little spoiler when she puts Ghostface on on hold.
That was really good. It was just
Yeah, I thought that was good.
yeah, with the way that five ended,
Hmm.
you know,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
she said that she wasn't going to do something, but then they just
Hmm.
have her turn around and do it, and
Yeah. And I
it led to
really,
one of the funnier moments in this movie.
yeah,
You know, but
yeah. It was, yeah. There's a lot of good parts in this movie, and I like the returning characters, and I'm glad that we see growth with them and get to know them better. Again, Star Wars, we didn't get that. That's why I was making that comparison with Poe and Finn. This is what happens when you have a cohesive team working on a sequel to, a sequel. They
yeah,
can help develop the characters along rather than deciding to, throw a wrench in everything. And so far, the way that this maybe trilogy is setting up is the characters are pretty strong. Maybe not as strong as Sydney, Dewey, and Gale, but you know, pretty
right.
good. Okay, what about the new characters? You've got Jack Champion or whatever what a name, by the way. You got him. You've got I don't know who else. Yeah, I can't remember all their names. Annika, Quinn, the detective guy, and Kirby's back. I forgot to mention Kirby. I
Yep.
love seeing Kirby back.
Yeah.
And I didn't fall for that thing towards the end with her, by the way. I didn't, not at all.
Now me
No,
neither.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you think, how happy were you to see Kirby back overall? And what do you think of her?
Um. Yeah, I thought she was pretty good. I liked. I kind of liked the what they did with her character. I felt like it was kind of like almost a natural thing
Yeah,
for one of the survivors to kind of pursue
yeah.
that line of work.
I like that they showed her scar, and I love the moment with Mindy.
Yeah,
That was awesome. It
yeah,
made me
for sure.
almost happy, except for her favorite Friday the 13th is apparently.
Yeah, that was funny.
Neither one of them said Jason lives.
I know. I know.
I'm done with this franchise. Anyway, yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool, and whenever, like, early on, when I, knowing what Mindy is from 5 and knowing what Kirby was from 4, it's like if they have a scene together, they gotta talk
Yeah,
horror for a second. And that to me, that scene, it's not really a big spoiler, but that scene, you really meant a lot to me in a way because it was like a shout out to all the horror nerds out there,
yeah,
like straight up, and they answered almost everything right. So,
yeah.
except for the Friday the 13th question, no respect. Anyway, yeah. So the new characters coming in. The one I liked, and this shouldn't give anything away. I actually liked the performance by Mulroney.
Hmm.
I thought he was good. I really liked Segura. I liked his character quite a bit. You didn't know he was very. They kept him mysterious early on, and then let it play through like that. And I like that about him. And he's a good actor actually. I like him quite a bit because I've seen him in. He was in Arrow, and what?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say because I remember when I first watched Arrow season 5 and he was on there as Prometheus,
Yeah.
I was like, he reminds me so much of fucking Christian Bale. And then in this one, he just really reminded me of Christian Bale for some
Yeah, I
reason.
see that. I can totally see that. I actually did not like him in Arrow, but like he was okay. It was the writing in Arrow that kind of was poor for him. But I really liked him in this and a couple other things I've seen him, and he was in She-Hulk also. Uh, what a waste. Anyway, I liked him. I didn't care for Quinn all that much. The roommate and Annika was just kind of an accessory. I mean, the new characters didn't really get much. I do like the way they treated, like whenever the killing starts happening, and you can't trust anybody, of course, and they start treating the new guy essentially, which is the Jack Champion character. I can't remember his name offhand, but I like the
Ethan.
way he was treating, and especially the way that Mindy was treating him. I thought that was fun. Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
So Scream 6 was solid entry, good gore, and I love Sam, but I could take or leave the rest of the cast. Some of them. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as the new characters, none of them really stood out. I agree with you. I did like the way that Mindy treated the Ethan character.
Ethan, yeah.
Especially with her text message about being with him on the train.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I liked the Danny character, Sam's boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
enough. I wish he had a little bit more involvement in it. Um,
But they did a good job with that, in my opinion.
oh
Why?
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. And I did like um, Dermot Mulroney as Detective Bailey.
yeah.
I think he's a good actor in general. I first saw
Oh
him
yeah, most
way
things
back
I've
with
seen him in, he's good. Yeah.
back with Survival Quest, and then more recently I saw him in The Gray.
Mm.
Um, yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah. I like him very much, and it was kind of cool seeing somebody of his stature almost. I mean, like Courtney Cox is a big name celebrity, and I don't think he's a big name celebrity, but you see him in so much. And with the last Scream, you didn't really see anybody who's big time, and you kind of don't throughout the series at all. And this was kind of like when I saw him, I was like, oh wow, this guy has been in a lot of shit. This is kind of different for the
Yeah,
Scream franchise, which I liked. And uh, it's hard to keep it spoiler free because there's so much I want to say about his character, but I can't.
yeah.
Although he's Quinn's dad, that's all you can. I mean, I think that's already known. Um, but what was no? There was something I wanted to say that was not spoilery about one of the characters, but I can't remember what it is now. Yeah. Anyway, they're okay. They weren't my favorite, including new characters. I think honestly, oddly enough, Scream 3 has some of my favorite new characters because of what's her name, the Gale 2.
Yeah,
You know,
Parker Posey.
Yeah, I love Parker Posey in that movie. Yeah, I can't. No, what was her name in the movie?
Oh,
The only one I
Jennifer.
can remember is Judy Jurgenstern. I can't
Yeah,
remember her actual name.
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Okay. Uh, okay. So anyway, okay. Now the story. Let's discuss what we can of the story overall, and we're not going to give away plot points or anything like that. I mean, you've seen things on, and the way that they cut the trailers together. Well, the one trailer I saw anyway, very well because and when I watch a trailer, I try to place things in chronological order, and I was wrong completely in the order of things, and which was great for me. But watching this story unfold, it takes place over a couple of days, like they all do essentially. And the pacing for me was really, really good. I thought it was really good. It was you really didn't have time to catch your breath, and the way that after each killing they start learning more about it, the way that happened was reminiscent of Scream 3 in a way, and I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. Especially about the pacing because This is, I guess, the longest Scream movie, being at like what 2 hours and 3 minutes, something like that.
Mhm.
But it didn't feel like it.
No,
There was never a moment where I really felt bored,
no.
and I felt like it moved along at a really good pace, and it was just for me, it was a good time from beginning to end. So I had fun with it, and it was well done.
So let me ask you this. Okay, moving past the story on to the killers, we're not going to say who they are. And yes, there are killers. Um, I mean, the only movie that didn't had one killer was three, was Roman. But in this, how quickly and how what was your reaction to the killers and really the third act overall?
Well, I felt like they dropped some pretty big hints in the movie early on,
Hmm.
um, so it was a little obvious. Now I've seen a lot of people um, basically say that this movie is good up until the third act, and
I've seen that
a lot of
too.
people take issue with the reveal and with the motivation. Um, but I guess I'm in a weird camp where I actually liked those things in this movie. I can't say why, I can't really dive into it, but um, I actually enjoyed it. Um, so I thought the third act was fine. I wish they did something a little differently with how they approached the motivation,
Hmm.
in a way that I felt would have probably made it a little bit better than what it was. And I understand where people are maybe a little upset because it's maybe it it mirrors another film a little too much, but I enjoyed it, and I felt it was without going to spoilers, it there was a good contrast, I think, between the villains and the main four heroes.
Hmm.
That's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the movie all the way through, and I was one of those on the other side where I was like, these are the killers. I was like, it wasn't their motivation that bothered me. That was fine. It was just who they were, and it felt so obvious. And like especially there's one part in the movie where like econ, that's not an alibi. Anyway, so like I don't know. There's certain things that's weird. I like certain things about the ending, but there's certain things about it I don't like, and we can't get into it, of course, because spoilers. But there are certain parts of the end that I'm like bullshit, and then bullshit, and then bullshit. I'll tell you off air what I'm talking about. But like, there are certain things about the end of the movie that just it's like it. So I really enjoyed Halloween Kills. Remember how we talked about this until the end, and the end really took me out of it, and this almost did that. But it, in my opinion, redeems itself. But at the very, not the very end, not the last shot or anything like that, but like no, because that actually bothered me too. But the last thing that Sam does, let's just leave it at that. Before they're outside, that really that I just it didn't feed into my theory, but it could. So overall, Mindy was cringe. I think Mindy is a someone who it's you love her or hate her. Honestly, I she's okay to me. But anyway, we're gonna end this now with Seth's score and then my score and then our combined score. So Seth, take it away. 88.5%.
Yeah, I thought this was a solid sequel. I think it's one of the better sequels in the franchise. Um, there's I really enjoyed the approach to the story and sort of the setup and everything that it was doing. I felt like they did a lot of things that were kind of different. It kind of feels like, and I know I've mentioned this before on one of our shows, that like the team behind this one, they were sort of, when they did part five, they were sort of beholden to Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson, and then I feel like with this one, they were able to kind of find their own voice. You know, they did it enough to keep it in this world of Scream. They did enough to make it feel like a Scream movie. But I feel like they made a lot of good choices here. I do have some cons with it. You know, there are certain things that there's one particular complaint that I've seen from a lot of people online that I do think is an issue in this movie, but I don't think it's exclusive to this movie. It's an issue that's been, it was even in the last one and a couple of the other ones, in terms of the consequences of violence to the main characters. Um, there's, this series has had some unbelievable moments before. Um,
Yeah,
Overall, I think this is a very solid sequel. I like the direction they're going in it. One other thing, and I forgot to mention this too, is I actually liked there's a subplot involving Sam and the public perception of her.
hmm
Uh, and I actually really enjoyed that element in this movie as well.
yeah. Bringing the Scream franchise into the 2020s, they've done a good job with that. You know, so my score is not far off. It's an 87%. I really had fun with this. My kids love this movie. They went with me. First time they saw a Scream film on the big screen. And like my daughter was reacting. She's 9. She was reacting appropriately and she just had a lot of fun. And Reynolds smiled and laughed and had a great time and peed like 3 times. Dude drank a fucking like 5 gallons of water, I swear, while we were there. But yeah, 87%. I liked it. There's some issues for me in the third act, but overall, I like it. And then between the two of us, 88%, obviously. So pretty damn good score for. I mean, this and in the overall, I don't know. I'm using my hands because nobody can see me, but in the overall encompassing world of horror, this is an 88%. I mean, think about that when we get to do like a. I think at the end of the year we're going to rank all the movies we did or make a list of them, and 88% is pretty fucking high. So that's pretty cool. Last week we did Scream 5, and it was 83%. So obviously Scream 6 is better. So if you haven't seen Scream 6, or if you have no plans of seeing it, go see it. It's great. It's great to watch with a crowd. The crowd was into it, man. I don't know about your theater. We had a packed house, and the crowd was into it. What about you?
It wasn't very packed. I mean, there was quite a few people in there, and people did react, you know, at certain moments. But I mean, it wasn't massive.
Mm. It was it was a good time. I had fun. It's this is seeing a movie like this and seeing a movie like even Ant Man, which I know you didn't enjoy as much. It just makes me think like this is why cinemas are open. For things like this. I'm scared to click on his comments because I'm worried he's going to ruin like spoil stuff. Yeah, running out of steam. Yeah, saw that one. Finish it with 7 and be done with the series. I agree. Actually, I want 7 to be the last one. Uh, and but I don't think that that'll happen. I'd like, if anything, them to wait for a couple of years. I don't think Scream 7 will be out next year. There has not been a formal announcement yet, but it's coming. This movie is projected to make uh, the biggest opening of any Scream movie, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I think they announced Scream 6, like maybe I don't know, not too long
It
after
was like a
Scream.
week or two after. It was pretty fast.
Yeah, and you know these movies they don't take long to make, so
But
it's
I would
I think
expect. Go
I think
ahead.
it's possible that 7 could come next year.
I think it's going to get announced. I mean, they could have been in production this whole time. We don't know. But if it gets announced, I think it like this came out 14 months after, so could be out next summer. And honestly, if it comes out in the summer, it may end up getting more money. Although horror does better in the two kind of off seasons, winter and the fall. So anyway, that's our show. We're going to be back in about 35 minutes. We're going to do our ranking list of all the Scream movies, all six of them. And honestly, there are some surprises in it, I think, overall, because we'll also have the audience scores. Um, but overall, it's our lists they differ, but they're kind of very similar, in some spots. So may not be a fun show. Who knows? I don't know. I think it'll be a fun show. And though for those of you that stuck around for the in after the credits with Scream 6, let us know what you thought in the comments. We'll see you in a bit. Not every movie needs a post-credit scene.